Greetings, everybody. This is Ken Magerman of Sounds and Shadows, and we are real excited here in this time of lockdown, which is tough, that we are going to try something new with Sounds and Shadows and do some reviews and discussion of what we're listening to lately, talk with you guys a bit, and kind of like our podcasts, but with video this time so you can see our shining faces. As you can see, the lockdown has not been kind. Katy, got a chance to get done up, and I mean, Collin always looks great, but I've been in this house a long time. It's rough. So today, let's get rolling right along because we want to get right into all of the exciting stuff that we have to talk about. Let's start out with some of the releases that we're really excited for that have come out recently. Katy, why don't you kick it off and tell me what you're listening to right now?
So it's not really like a new release this week, but I have been listening to the single that was released by Secret Shame. It is so good. Secret Shame is a band out of Asheville, North Carolina. If you took an old Cure album, like if it was on record and it was meant to be played at 33 1/3, and then you played it at 45, that's what this band sounds like. It's like all of the iconic sounds and like classic goth rock. I love it. And the album comes out on June 5th. It's just a 2-song EP, but it's really good. It's definitely worth checking out.
And you did a written review on that one, correct? That you're putting up on the page?
Yeah. I'm waiting for the second song to come out so I can get a better idea of what the whole EP sounds like. But if you want to read up on the song that's available to listen to, it's part of my End of Days playlist, part 3.
So everybody check that out. Collin, I know you have a very exciting one that just came out today, or no, it was yesterday, but that's exciting for both of us out of Chicago from our dear friend. Tell us about that.
Dan just came out with a brand new, I have no idea how he got the time to do this. Well, I mean, I guess I understand how he got the time, but I don't know when he did this. There goes my microphone trying to kill me. But Genocide Love Song from the Joy Thieves. Well, we got a 4-song EP, couple remixes on here. The I Blew a New Girl remix had me dying laughing. Just fantastically done. But yeah, Chris Connolly singing again on new tracks. Just fantastic release. Really exciting, relevant, pertinent.
Yes.
And got my motor running.
I mean, just two guys there, I mean, in Dan and Chris Connolly that are just both so good at what they do. And it's such a perfect team up. And I've been listening to, Chris Connolly's been posting a lot of acoustic videos kind of while he's in isolation there. And they're great. But hearing him do what he does is just so amazing. And when this song came out, I'm like, that's the Chris Connolly that I've been longing for.
Yeah, and I mean, some of those have been really moving too. Very emotional, but it's been nice to see. Yeah, his voice has that. It always, I don't know if anyone else gets that, but I always get a lot of Bowie in his voice when he has that little warble and breakup. That really moving. Like I said, been good to see.
I mean, he's just such a big part of the scene for so long, and I think it's really interesting how much range he has when he shows that he can really sing anything in any style. It's kind of crazy. It makes me jealous.
Yeah. How you can be capture such an angry, aggressive track and then turn around and do something acoustic and beautiful like that. I mean,
he's him. He's Chris Connolly. Like.
There's a reason why he's so popular,
So now, on to my new release, and this is one that I've been anticipating and waiting for a long time. It's of a band that we've covered quite a bit on Sounds and Shadows. It is I Am the Shadow. Pedro, to me, I mean, has the best baritone in goth post-punk music. His voice just holds such emotion and passion and stands apart. When we talk about range, I mean, he goes from beautiful to just so dark and intense. And a lot of the previous albums when I reviewed, you know, I mentioned it to like Nick Cave, you know, in the sense that it was very organic and stripped down and almost like Bach. It's not a ton going on, but instead just with a clear, pure, forward laser of emotion that comes at you. And it just, I've always been very moved by it. This album, though, was so different. It was such a different sound, and it's dancey. It bops. I mean, it is an album you could jam in the club, and it still holds a lot of that emotion and feeling and intensity. But on top of that, you were shaking that ass. The layers on the keyboards on this, I mean, it backed off a little bit on some of the guitar and other things and brought those layers to the front and blended a lot. So there were a lot of chances taken on this album. Please go to Sounds and Shadows and read the full review. I mean, I talk a lot about this, but I'm going to want to give away my time because we have a very, very exciting guest where Pedro is on with us today to talk with us all the way from Portugal. And hello, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you?
It's so good to see you.
You are always good.
The last time we saw each other is when I came out for the Cold Transmission Festival out in Cologne, and I got to see you play live. That was the show where you had Carl of Antipole playing live with you.
Some songs, yes. Some songs
yeah.
of I Am the Shadow and some songs from Antipole, yes.
To me, that was another thing that was so amazing is when I really like an album, when I see a band live, if I just get them playing the album, that's well and good. But I love when a band takes it to the next level and brings a different kind of energy when they play live. And I felt like that's what you guys really had that night. And in particular, when you guys did Antipole songs and you sang on them, it was like a whole different song and a whole different flavor.
Yeah, it was very challenging to me because my voice is very different from the guests that
Paris, yeah,
normally have. And I was afraid that my voice was too much I Am the Shadow for Antipole. But it resulted in a very good, I believe, for me it was very good, and for people, I believe they loved it. So
honestly, that whole night was a great concert, and everything I saw was amazing, and that was my favorite part. It honestly, it blended perfectly, and I loved hearing your interpretation of Carl's songs.
It was a chilling moment playing in Cologne in that night with all that people completely full, all that people dancing and waiting for the bands and weaving with the bands. It was magical.
It was. So listen, I do have a couple things I want to ask you about for this album in particular. So one of the big changes for this album is it was the first one that you did as a part of Cold Transmission. I know Andy and Susie have been friends of yours for a long time. Yes. Tell me, what was it like to be a part of the Cold Transmission family for this? How did that kind of change the feel, you think, of this release and album? How is it different for you?
First, they are my friends, and it was a pleasure, a great pleasure, and almost seemed natural to come to them and be with them in Cold Transmission. Now it makes every day makes more sense to be together because we can grow together. I Am the Shadow and Cold Transmission, and we knew that since day one, since we talked about our new album, our work with them, we knew that we would be much more stronger and big. When I decided to do this album, I did want to do something different because we had 3 works before, and I'm not a man to do always the same.
Yeah.
I can't do always the same, and I can't listen always the same. To do the same, I prefer to not. I felt the need to change me, Rui and Vitor. One of the turning points was someday in the past year I bought a Moog,
Mm-hmm.
and
Old school, yeah.
And when I started to do songs and leads, I found the sound I want for I Am the Shadow. I did a couple sounds and I decided, whoa, this is so pitch black. And it was.
That's beautiful. I was going to ask you kind of what came to that premonition, especially for where the world is right now, that album title, Pitch Black.
Yeah,
but
no, it was, now it feels like a premonition because, as you know, I was robbed and I lost a great part of my work. It was difficult days for me, but I had my friends with me, my label, and they were more than friends, more than a label. They are great. They are.
It's true. It's family, and that's what I always say is special about Cold Transmission. And
because sometimes we talk together on video and we drink wine together. Yes, we are friends.
I'm doing that right now. I was going to kind of going into what you were saying there. I was going to ask you. Yes, I mean it was a terrible thing where you had the album about done and almost in the can, and you were robbed and lost your laptop, like you were saying, and lost so much of the music on it that you had to go back and redo. Did anything change that you ended up maybe even as a positive almost, where you redid something for the album that wasn't that way before? What changed and what came out as a result of
the album is more aggressive and more I wanted, after all that, I wanted to do more powerful, more nasty, more analog.
You can hear that a lot, and it's a change in tone that, like I said, I love how different that is from what you had done before. So that's beautiful. And like you were saying, I mean, it's much dancier, it's synth heavy. Aside from that, was there anything else, and getting the new Moog keyboard, that really kind of precipitated making this change in tone for you in terms of what was happening in your life that bled through into this different sound?
As you know by now, my songs are what I feel. I needed to when I decided to do this album, I wanted to do something different, and I had an idea. The idea was that the album would be more analog. I would try to change some way my voice, but I didn't. I did not. But I used much more guitar. If you listen the album is so much more guitar driven than the others. The others, sometimes I record 3-4 guitars and this album has so many guitars and has more bass. Rui had a great work in this album.
I think that's wonderful too. And I mean, because of your voice, and it's such a showcase of what you guys do and kind of the center and built around, sometimes it's easy for me to forget if I don't go back to a song for you guys and really listen and hear just how much is added in by that bass and what great work he does. It's easy to overlook that. And I really encouraged everybody, yes, when you hear through it, you're going to want to dance with it. You're going to want to hear the lyrics and the poetry, but go back and listen to those bass lines because they're so thick and rich.
Especially the song, The Days, Shivers. He made a great job in The Days. It's a great job. I'm very proud of them. And Vitor is always wonderful, always very good. When I do the songs, I send to them. I do the songs entirely. I do all the melody, all the parts, and then I give space for them to create. And I send them the songs and always give them space. And Vitor always make these great leads, these great atmospheres, and Rui did a great job.
So the last thing I wanted to really ask you about here that I thought was just incredibly bold and different is you brought in and did duet on this and had other singers. And to me, again, like your voice is such a staple of the sound of I Am the Shadow, and I thought it was just such a bold choice. And I remember we had talked for a minute about doing a duet together, and I still want to do that at some point.
Yes, we have to do.
But I got to tell you, I was terrified. I remember when you said it to me, I was so intimidated of, oh my gosh, am I going to have to sing next to Pedro? These duets worked perfectly. I love the one in particular where, hold on, I got to make sure I'm saying her name correctly, but from Bedless Bones, it just was so powerful. In the song called Ouroboros, like the snake, right, that eats its tail. And it was such a perfect cadre image of it because your voices, I couldn't tell where one stopped and the other started, and they seemed to blend so seamlessly. What was that process like?
Yes, I will tell you. My process when I invite someone to sing with me is I send them the songs and say, you will sing and you do the lyrics, okay? Then after you record, you send to me and I will try to do something. Always like this. I don't give ideas.
Yeah.
Send them the songs without voice, and they do the lyrics and do the work. And then I received, and I have a hard work too, because I have to sing what they create. And it was very difficult for me to because Kadri, she has a great voice, but she has a special way of singing. Her metrics are very strange to me, and it was very difficult for me to sing with her. But I believe the result is, I love it.
I do too. I think it turned out perfectly. And Bedless Bones to me is such an underrated band. They're from Estonia, correct?
Yes, Estonia.
Yeah. I love that sound. It really is. Like I should get out an interview and review with them because they have such a unique sound. And like you said, in particular, the cadence of the voice, the style, it's so unique. You just don't hear it from anybody else in the scene.
It's not easy to sing with her.
I don't imagine.
But we will sing together when in call transmission. Sooner or later, we will sing together this song. And I have to say, I have to say that it was a pleasure to work with Diego. It was a great honor because he is a great guy from Dark. He's a great.
Sure. He's a titan in the scene. He's been around for, his body of work is incredible. He was the primary vocalist on that song. That's The Frozen Autumn is his band.
Yes.
It's a beautiful song, and his voice is so contrasted to yours, so different. I just love the way it came across, that it was still an I Am the Shadow song, and it still had that feel, but with that different voice, I think added such a neat flavor.
He's very professional. It was very easy to work with him. He's the most professional you can find. I am too, but I am very methodic in music, in song. But he's so much more than me. He made my work easy. She had a wonderful voice, and when I sent her the song, 10 minutes later, she sent me a message with a voice already in the song. She did she did the song in 10 minutes, the voices, 10 minutes.
I really liked it. Let's give a shout out to, her name is, the band is Vaslin.
Yes.
Wonderful. So yeah, everyone should look that up as well. Check.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful band.
So again, as Ken had stated, the new album has a very different sound. I think it is a lot more aggressive, is a lot thicker, like you said. But I'm noticing a lot more textures and tones that are quite divergent from your previous releases. Was the new tech a huge part in the writing and how those sounds came about, or was that just secondary? How was that, and what new keyboards am I hearing here?
Tell me the keyboards.
Need the keyboards.
Not only the keyboards. I use the Moog, as I told Ken. I use some soft synths that I used before, but most of what you heard is guitars, because I use a big sky pedal, a Strymon pedal. I use for so many years, and I used it in this album. Much of that layers you hear are not keyboards, but guitars. In some songs, I have 7 guitars playing together. It was because of that. I wanted to sound different. I wanted more analog sounding, more electric bass, more electric guitar, and more analog synths. And I use analog drum machines too. I use a Moog DFM analog synth drum.
That makes sense. Okay.
In most of the songs.
Because it has that very white noise, aggressive tone.
It's the secret. My normal sadness, melancholy made the rest. So it's a normal evolution from the other works, I believe.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Katie, what about you? What do you want to know?
Okay. This is pretty straightforward. Your voice is beautiful. Audiobooks, have you considered?
I want to have that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I would buy the heck out of those books.
I wish I could. I worked on the documentaries like National Geographic before. But
what?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Where can I find this? I need a link.
I made I made 10 years ago. I worked for a company in Portugal, but they didn't pay me nothing, and I didn't give the okay for them. They don't give them the license because they. But it is a work I would love to do.
Well, I think it would be great. I would love to hear you. Oh, like I'm reading a new Captain Alriste novel that's kind of like musketeers swashbuckling in Spain and Portugal. I would love to hear you read that. I might have to set that. I might have to finance this. I think this.
Do you want to know what's my big dream in music?
Yeah, please.
Soundtracks for
yeah.
That would be so perfect.
Yes, it's my kind of thing. With Dream Collision, it's my approach to that kind of sound. Yes, it's my biggest dream ever.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Dream Collision, but that's another one that maybe that's a whole different discussion, but that everyone should look up, where it's just a different project that Pedro did that was very personal, very solo, but honestly, some of the most heartbreaking, anguished, beautiful music I've ever heard in my life. It's amazing. If you haven't heard the Dream Collision, you need to look that up. I'll post a link to our review of it.
Right. Thank you.
So I think this was a really cool format, and I want to do more of these going forward. We have a special contest where I just had to go buy the LP and the album and anything else I can from I Am the Shadow. So when Andy and Susie sent us our media copy of this new album, we're going to put it up as a contest. So if you like this video online on YouTube and share it, or comment below when we post it to the Sounds and Shadows page, we will put you in a drawing, and we will draw the winner and send you a copy of I Am the Shadow Pitchblack, which I assure you will be a highlight of your musical collection. This has been great. Goodbye, my dear friends. Pedro, it was wonderful speaking with you. I miss you, Collin. I miss you, Kate.
Miss you guys.
Everybody have a great day and keep it dark, yo.